A criminal enterprise known as the Democrat Party will attempt to carry out a silent coup using the Latino vote. Their reasoning will be that the Latinos are mainly Native Americans and have a prior claim to the continent of North America. Therefore, the government of the United States is illegitimate. These Latinos own this place. They got here first. Uh, they have a right to come and go as they please, to do what they want to do. And if they want to vote in our elections, they can. As a matter of fact, they should be given restitution for the fact that the Europeans stole their land. And the restitution should be in the form of welfare, housing, food stamps, health care, all that. However, they're not the original inhabitants of this continent. The Siberian natives got here second. The Europeans got here thousands of years before that, and the footprints or the fingerprints or the evidence is found by archaeologists. The so called Clovis culture is actually the Solutrean culture. The Solutreans were largely wiped out by a meteor impact. You don't believe it? Well, I got the evidence. Meteor impact that created a circular ring around the perimeter of the United States. This is a circular ring around the perimeter of the United States, which are the secondary impacts of fragments thrown up into the air by the original asteroid that hit somewhere near the Great Lakes. And of course, the continent was covered by a mile deep ice sheet, ice 1 mile deep. So the crater would have been formed in the ice and not in the soil or rocks below. And when the ice melted, which it did 10,000 years ago, it's called the glacial, interglacial cycle. Al Gore's climate change salvation show featured an ice core chart in the background that showed all these multiple spikes of warming periods throughout the past 500,000 years. That's the chart I'm talking about. Um, the evidence for this meteor impact is a layer of platinum dust that is recorded in the ice worldwide, and it's recorded at the soil level where the Clovis culture ended at about 12,800 years ago. 12,800 years ago. You have the footprints, fingerprints, projectile points of the original Solutrean inhabitants of this country. Then you have an absence of mastodons, camels, and saber-toothed tigers because that's the level above where the you have the extinction of megafauna and the original Solutreans near extinction. And then above that, you have the Siberian Native Americans in the strata, soil strata, as the archaeologists would dig down, finding layers and layers of depositions of sediments. So the platinum would have been deposited by a cloud of platinum dust created by an asteroid impact, just as there's an iridium layer recording the impact of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs millions of years before. But in geologic terms, we're talking about recent, very recent times. Very recently, there was an ice sheet over the northern part of the globe that extended down to England and over Siberia and over Alaska and Canada on down into the upper states of the United States today. Ice, 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 and it all melted, and sea level rose 200 or 300 feet when that ice melted. Uh, Geologists can tell you that this happens repeatedly about every 100,000 years. So this is not anything shocking, new, or controversial. The projectile points are there. The platinum dust is there. The Solutreans are a totally different culture than the later Siberian immigrants. I have nothing against Negroes, Latinos. This is not. These people are being used by the left. These people are being used by the criminal enterprise known as the Democrat Party, the party of perpetual power abuse, the party of perpetual lying, disinformation, and abuse of the media. This is the culprit. It's the Democrat Party that's the culprit, not the Latinos who are trying to be instrument. They're trying to the left are trying to instrumentalize the Latinos to trick them into voting so that the Democrat Party can take control of this country. This is not about racism or prejudice. And as a matter of fact, yo hablo español un poco. And yo soy un hombre sincero de donde crece la palma. I have nothing against the Latinos. And of course, I have nothing against the Negroes who were used by the Democrat Party, the KKK Democrat Party, before put on welfare and turned into victims. This has to do with preserving the United States as it is, a great idea worth keeping.